Today, tip number 3 on what you should be doing, tricks and tips in the month of September, late summer, early fall. Hey everybody, David Burns. Hey Beak Squad, good to be with you today. And today I'm going to show you how I mix up my feeding additives to support raising bees of winter physiology during late summer, early fall. Got a lot of questions I want to answer that you've been asking me, and so I want to show you today my mixture that I have. I have it already mixed up here, and I got a lid on it because already the bees have found me out. So we have to be careful today not to get bees in our solution. We want them to eat it, not swim in it. But today I want to answer some of your questions. Now, a lot of you ask me, hey David, I've always heard you should use 2 to 1, 2 parts sugar, 1 part water in late summer, fall. Why are you using 1 to 1? Now listen, I have made many videos about this, but I know some of you are brand new to my channel and you haven't gone back to watch all the videos where I've explained this, so I'm gonna have to bring you up to date. But many years ago, decade and a half ago, I realized that my bees weren't making it through winter because I didn't have enough bees. I had plenty of honey on board. Everybody told me, David, in Illinois, you need 70 pounds, 80 pounds of honey to make it through a long Illinois winter. So you got to feed them 2 to 1 to help them have the honey they need to make it through winter, blah, 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 right? So I did that, and my bees would often die with frames of honey right next to them, right next to the cluster. I'm like, why are my bees dying? Well, it's because my bees were too small in number, that even though they had the food to support them, they didn't have the number of bees. They needed about 40,000 plus bees to make it through winter. So I took a different approach in the next few years, discovering that if I fed them 1 to 1 in the fall, I could raise more bees of winter physiology that live how long? 4 to 6 to 8 months long. Right now, we can power up our bees by feeding them a solution I'm going to show you. It's a secret recipe. And I'm going to show you how, and I've done this for years. I've made video after video. I've made videos side-by-side comparison. Here's a colony that we're not going to feed in the fall. Let's see if they raise bees of winter physiology compared to one that we're feeding. Let's see how many bees they raise of winter physiology. Startling. So by feeding bees what simulates a nectar source, just 1 to 1 sugar water with these additives in there, will support the nurse bees that are feeding the young larvae. And so in the past, without feeding them, I've watched my young larvae perish, dry up in the comb, because nurse bees, it's a dirt, they don't have any food. They're not going to use their winter stores to feed them. And so I'm going to just continue to get my queen to lay a lot of eggs, and I'm going to support my nurse bees by feeding them this solution, and that way they make it through winter. That's why I don't use 2 to 1 in the fall, because I don't need 70 or 80 pounds of honey. I feed my bees my winter bee kind, which is the same solution, but only in a candy form, that the bees' own moisture makes it palatable for the bees to consume during the wintertime and keep raising bees of winter physiology. People must hate this idea because it goes against so much traditions in beekeeping. I know some people hear me say this and they're like, oh, I would never do that. I would do. Well, watch my videos. I come out of winter with 80,000 bees. I have more bees in the wintertime than any other time of the year. I've just proven that for well over a decade. Works for me, okay? So, you know, it's hard to argue with success, but if you want to, you can argue all you want to. So here's my solution. Get ready, get a pen, write it down. Then we're going to go out in the bee yard. I'm going to show you how I feed my bees. But I'm going to start with very hot water out of my sink. I don't boil it or anything. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Honeybee Healthy, 1 teaspoon of Amino Bee Booster, and 1 teaspoon of Ultra Bee pollen protein. I think it's from Man Lake, but any protein that's made for bees, any protein pollen substitute powder will work. And I've already pre-mixed it, and here it is in this little cup here. And I've mixed my powder, my Amino Bee, my Honeybee Healthy. It smells so good. Within minutes, bees will be showing up because they're attracted to the Honeybee Healthy smell, and that's what really causes them to want to consume a lot of this feed. Now, I put a teaspoon of each. I've already pre-mixed it. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of each in here by guessing. It doesn't have to be rocket science. This is a little bit bigger because it's 2 quarts over here. I could put all this in there, but I'm just going to put enough in there to show you what I'm doing here. Now I need to add the rest of it to be sugar. And so we've got a big bag of sugar here. Everyone wants to always ask me, you know, should I, whoops, there they are on this, how fast they will get down in there. And it's a little too strong for them to consume it. So I'm going to put a lid on it. Go away, move out. Oh, all right, got them out of the way. So whether you should use beet sugar or cane sugar, oh boy, now they're over here. I said within minutes, and it's been less than a minute, I think. I've used, you know, most of the table sugar that we buy at stores is oftentimes made from beets. And so I've used that to feed bees. And I know some of you are like, oh, I would never do that. It needs to be cane sugar. And I'll tell you, I've never had any bad experiences using just regular beet sugar. But I understand, you know, you're entitled to feel and have a philosophy of your own that's different than mine. I don't own the corner. Ooh, I was afraid that wouldn't fit. I don't own the corner of all intelligence and all knowledge. I'm just doing what's worked for me over the few years that I've been keeping beekeeping since the early 90s. And so this is working out well. So I'm mixing it all together now. And I realize now I forgot to bring my lids out here. A lot of you love the lids that we make. You buy them. Some of you buy them by 48 at a time. It's amazing. The lids that we punch holes in for a good distribution. This one's doesn't have as much protein powder. It kind of sunk to the bottom. I'm going to add a little bit more here. Get it a little bit more orange. There we go. Well, it's 2 quarts too. So we're going to mix this up. And the way I mix it is, like I said, hot water from the sink. And then I'm just going to add my sugar to it. And that makes it 1-to-1. 1 part water, 1 part sugar. Everybody wants to ask me, now wait a minute, is that dry liquid measurement? Exactly. What are the grams, kilograms, ounces? I want to get it perfect. 1 part sugar, 1 part water has to be just microscopically, grain by grain, gram by gram, perfect. Well, please don't do that. That's a waste of time. Just do 1-to-1 by eyesight. Half of this jar with sugar, the other half with water. And if you don't want to call it 1-to-1 because it isn't, it's off slightly, it doesn't matter. Calm down. Oh, got a bee in the bucket. All right, watch out. So yeah, calm down. You don't have to, this isn't rocket science. It's not, look at the bees. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're just like, those of you that have followed this in the past years, I've made these videos for a long time. You know, yeah, David, yep, I understand. Bees love your mixture. They love your additives. And again, this is the same solution that we put in our winter bee kinds as well. A few more little things, but there we go. We got it mixed up good, and that's amazing. Now I'm gonna go get the lids, put the lids on, then we're gonna jump in the golf cart. We're gonna run down and start feeding the hive that we looked at yesterday. This is tip number 3, feeding your bees from the top to help them raise bees of winter physiology. After about 2 or 3 weeks of a dearth, then the bees are ready to raise their laying eggs. We saw that yesterday, but now those eggs are gonna dry up unless we support the nurse bees with some nutrients where they can make some world jelly. Let me put some lids on this before the bees haul me off. Let's go out in the field. Oh, I'm back with my lids. They did not want to spare these 2 lids. They said, we have too many orders for the lids, but okay, take 2 lids, but no more. Please. All right, there we go. We looked at this hive yesterday in part 2, and we were evaluating the queen, and I showed you a frame that had solid brood. It was like, oh, eureka, love it. But what I didn't show you, let me show it to you now, a frame next to it, kind of dark, you can't hardly see it, full of eggs. It's actually good. Although it's not capped over, there is a lot of eggs and a lot of larvae that is starting to be laid. So that is even projecting our bees of winter physiology further downstream, if that makes sense to you. These eggs, these larvae that you see here will live 4 to 8 months. Now this hive does not have a super on it. And so these eggs are going to become larvae any day, today, tomorrow, the next day. And that larvae needs to be fed by nurse bees. Those nurse bees need to be able to nurse by consuming a lot of protein and carbohydrates. That's what we're giving them. Boom! Wow! This is so cool. And what we're giving them, these additives, are what bees really kind of get when they go out and attack the nectaries of flowers. They get all the nectar out of flowers, and it has a little bit of protein, the pollen in it. And then they get the nectar, they bring it back in their honey crop. So what we're doing today is giving bees what bees love to eat. Now, before I open this hive, please subscribe so you'll be notified when I make part 4 coming up, and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. A lot more tips coming up. Also, did you miss my live stream last night with Dr. David Peck? It's okay if you missed it. I'll forgive you. You're okay, you're good. But I do have it on my YouTube channel here. You can watch it even though it's not live. You can watch the recorded version of the live stream. Dr. David Peck gave out so much good information. I really want you to see this. It was a fun time. Take a look at this. I'll leave a link in the description and right here too. After this video, check out Dr. David Peck's interview with me on my live stream. All right, enough said. Let me put my hat on. I'm not wearing gloves today just because I forgot to bring them. And we're just going to put a feeder on top so the bees won't be too crazy. Where's the feeder? Somebody asked me where they can buy a David bobblehead. well, Sherry bought that one for me a long time ago. And there's only one, and I can't get rid of that. Propolis is amazing, isn't it? The sticky stuff that bees get out of plants and trees to propolis their hive. It is quite sticky, and it acts in many ways as part of the bee's immune system too. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial. It has a lot of properties that the bees use to help their hives be able to deal with pathogens. All right, there we go. Got some bees off of the top area. I had this one in service on another hive and earlier in the year, and now it's got grass and stuff on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on. Watch out, bees. Excuse us. Everybody's out of the way a little bit. You know what? How hard is that propolis? It's too hard. We're going to have to scrape the propolis off to make a good seal, because anytime you put food out in the open like this where robber bees could sniff it out, it's potentially able to be attracting robbers anytime you have food anywhere. So what we're going to do is just scrape off the propolis so that the Burns feeding board sits nicely down on the box itself. All right. I love propolis, don't you? Love the smell of propolis. Propolis. How do you say propolis, propolis? Either way you want to. You're not wrong either way, actually. The word means gate of the city. Propolis. Entrance of the city. Because bees actually put it a lot of times on the entrance of their hives if there's a small hole or something they're using for an entrance. Wow, that smells good. I'm going to save that and take it home. Sometimes I take propolis. Don't tell anybody. Let's keep this a secret between me and just you. Sometimes I take propolis. I chew on it, a little tiny piece in my mouth. I've gone to a lot of talks. You know, I give talks at different places, and I've heard other people, even doctors, give talks about the health benefits of propolis. It's amazing. Is it raining? My camera is not waterproof. It is raining. I'm going to have to hurry then. All right, so here's what we're going to do in the rain. I'm going to put this on like this. And it goes down like that. We're going to put our feeding bottles on top like this. Now these don't drip because there's a vacuum. They drip at first, but then they stop. And the next thing we do in the rain and hurrying is we take our hive tool out and we put a box on. That's called our shell. And then we put our top cover on. All right, then we put a brick on top. You need to put a brick on top because if you don't, it may blow off. Let's get out of the rain. I hope you're enjoying my 10 tips and tricks you should be doing in late summer, early fall. It's going to help your bees make it through winter. That's what I'm here to do, guys. I'm helping you get your bees through the winter. If you didn't see Dr. Peck's interview with me last night on my live stream every Thursday night at 7, check it out right here. I'll leave a link to make it easy for you. I want you to hear what he has to say. See you guys over there.